here saying, how safe and secure is Lovable? Is this connected to the T scandal? T, which is an app which had the identifiable information of, I think, 70,000 women, and it was breached. And there was an indication that it might have been vibe coded, and this is why it wasn't secure. It's actually not that, but I would say Lovable. So Lovable itself is secure. What could not be secure is your backend. So if you build an application, you basically have two things when you build an application, very roughly, and don't come at me, coders. You have two things. You're going to have the front end. The front end is what your customers and what your users see. So when you go to a website and type things into a form, that is a front end. When you go to eBay and you can see all the listings and you have a user account, etc., that's the front end. A back end is basically the database that sits behind, the database that has all of the information about your customers, about your users, about what they've purchased from you, maybe their credit card information, generally encrypted, should be encrypted, etc., etc. So the back end, that's the thing that you need to keep secure. And this is the problem that a lot of vibe coding tools have. So it's not necessarily the fault of the vibe coding tool. The problem is vibe coding and using tools like Lovable allows people who don't have experience in coding, they don't have experience in front end or back end or security to build tools. That's awesome. But when you deploy it and it's potentially being used by tens or hundreds of thousands of people, the cracks can start to show, because if you don't have the ability to know what kind of security we should be setting up, then there's no way to instruct Lovable about, hey, we need to make sure that this is secure. So there's a gap in knowledge when it comes to vibe coding, which means a lot of vibe coded tools are not secure. That's not necessarily Lovable's fault. It's just that we as the creator haven't said, hey, I'm about to release this. How do we make sure nobody can hack into this? How do we make sure nobody can get the information? Lovable has a native integration with something called Supabase. Supabase is secure. So what you do is you connect your Lovable account to a Supabase account, and then that's going to deal with most of your security issues. Not all of them, but most of them, because we're not building the backend ourselves. Thankfully, we are borrowing someone else's technology. That said, there are still ways to mess up, and I'm going to talk about T in a moment. So if you are going to production, if you are selling and making money off your application, you can still absolutely build using something like Lovable. I highly recommend it for minimum viability products. And indeed, all of this week, I'm writing about it in the Playbook newsletter. So make sure you check that out. This week, I'm talking about how you add payment systems, for example. So we are talking about security. That's free, and it's a link in the bio. If it's a business and you know you're going to have hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of customers, it's well worth the time and the money to go to a security expert and have them make sure everything is fully secure. If you're going to be making that kind of money, then and having that amount of traffic, then you need to make sure that it's belt and braces and everything is good to go. So definitely go ahead and have it secured by a professional if you are selling. That red bandit says, if you know what you actually need and can ask Lovable to do it, can you do it well? So I think this is to do with security and securing a vibe coded app. Yes, generally. So if you know all the steps required to make an app secure, then yes, you can go to Lovable and you can say, this is what we need to do. You can also say, hey, we're getting ready for launch. I need to make sure this is secure. Can you give me a checklist of the things that we need to cover? And then you're going to run through them one by one with Lovable. Or what I prefer to do is you can ask Claude or ChatGPT. You can say, hey, I'm working with a vibe coding app. I'm not sure how secure it's going to be. So I want to make sure we have belt and braces. Can you give me a checklist, a best practices checklist? And then we're going to work our way through that inside Lovable. So you use an external AI to get the guidelines, to get the project plan. Then you take that back into Lovable. The other thing you can do, and this is how I personally work, is you can put together your basic version. You can make sure it works and that the idea that you had works on paper. That's not the right word. Works as an application. You can use Lovable for that to get your basics done. Then you can export that out into Cursor, and then you can do what you want with it. So Cursor is I'm not going to call it an AI tool. It's a programming tool. It's a development environment, but it has heavy artificial intelligence features. You can vibe code with it, but it's the next level up from Lovable, Replete, and Bolt. Oh, Steph just said, any experience with Cursor? Yes, I love Cursor. So Cursor I will expand on that then. Cursor is much more powerful than Lovable, but it has a steeper learning curve as a result of that. It is a more traditional development environment, so you can build anything in it. Lovable is really good as a starting point, vibe coding, the basics, getting the shape together, which is really important because most people have ideas, but they never actually get those ideas out of their head. And it's by going back and forward with a tool like Lovable that we can actually work out what that looks like in a concrete version. So we can actually play around with it and realize that, oh, wait, no, the idea I had for this, that doesn't actually work. Let's work out how we can make this actually useful. So Lovable is really good for that, for very basic stuff. And then you can export all the files, all of your project files out into Cursor. Make sure you set up with GitHub, etc. So you can do version control. You can do that in Lovable too. But then you can do the rest of the build in Cursor. You can do the versioning. You can make it more advanced. You can deal with your security, etc., etc., etc. I won't say Cursor is better than Lovable. It is different. So for a very basic project that you just want to get done, get published, Lovable is fantastic. If you want to build something more robust, something that's more scalable that you're going to build on in the future, then you'd probably take it to Cursor. It really depends on your business goals. If you do not know how to code, though, Lovable is going to be the place to start. Again, all of this week, it's actually a 10-part course. I'm writing it's called the AI Summer Camp. It guides you through coming up with a business idea. Let me pull it up. I think I can pull it up. It's a 10-week series, a course I'm writing, basically. It's all free, and it's in my newsletter. So it was based on a Greg Eisenberg tweet. Let me pull up the video as well. Based on a Greg Eisenberg tweet, someone should create an AI summer camp. There are 254 million college students worldwide who know that AI is coming for them. By the time today's college freshmen graduate, so in 3-4 years, AI agents will have eliminated 80% of entry-level jobs. This is Greg Eisenberg talking, not me. 80% is probably a bit high. Enter the AI summer camp, 10 weeks, 50,000 students free upfront. So Greg Eisenberg was saying, hey, somebody should put together a summer camp showing people how to build with artificial intelligence, showing them how to create a business as well. Nobody stepped up, so I did. And I've created this camp. I'm on week 6 or 7 now, and I'm writing it bit by bit. The 10 weeks are, again, this is free. I'm not pitching you anything here. 1 is finding your niche, so finding an opportunity in the market. So it's not just what you want to build because it's going to be cool, it's what you can actually sell. 2, talking about audience strategy and starting to build your audience as soon as possible. Week 3, finding your startup idea. So turning your problem solution into an actual idea and a project plan, something you're actually going to build. Week 4 is vibe coding your MVP, your minimum viability product. That is inside Lovable. So I recommend Lovable. Manual beta testing, that was last week I wrote that. So that's finding users through direct outreach and having them become beta testers and then champions. So they're going to be the people who spread the word later. Grassroots marketing, talking about how to market products without having an audience in place and without having to spend money, which are the normal 2 ways to do it. So I've assumed that most people do not have those resources in place, and therefore I walk you through how you can do this from scratch. And then basic revenue systems, that's what I'm writing this week. So I'm talking about how you can hook up Lovable to take payments, how you set up subscriptions in Stripe, how you set token limits, etc., etc. And then talking about peer-to-peer growth, so relationships, building through partnerships. Direct sales is week 9, talking about how you actually make sales, and then beyond, it's going to be week 10. So this is all free. And the idea is to help you build your first AI application and to make your first $1,000 in online revenue over the 10 weeks. And that's all available in the newsletter, and it's free to sign up. So go and check that out. So all of this is built with Lovable. And I recommend people building with Lovable because it allows you to not get in your own way. Because something like Cursor is amazing, but if you do not know how to code, you're going to end up going down a rabbit hole of complexity. And instead, we just need to move fast. We need to build something basic, get that out into the world, see if anyone actually cares about it. If they do care about it, then we can add layers of sophistication and complexity later. And Cursor is perfect for that. I got a bit distracted there. That was a good question. JJ, how do we learn to vibe code? This is another YouTube video I want to shoot. Honestly, just go to lovable.dev. You could also use Bolt, B-O-L-T, or you can use Replit, R-E-P-L-I-T. Doesn't really matter. I prefer Lovable. Other people like different ones. Doesn't really matter. Go to Lovable and make an account. It's free. and then just type in something that you want to build. Like literally just do that. Don't worry about watching tutorials. Don't worry about doing a course or anything. Go on there and start playing around, because it will do very well, extremely well. Give it something basic for your first project. So don't say, I want to create a CRM system for my business and it needs to track 600 variables, etc. It will choke and it will not be able to do that. Instead, build something very basic like a calculator. Calculator is a classic kind of starter coding example, and it will just knock it out of the park for you. Go and play around with the tool, and then you can start to press up against the limits of it. When you hit problems, you go to ChatGPT or you go to Claude or whatever it is, and you work through the problems with ChatGPT. So literally, you would take a photo of what you're seeing in Lovable, and you take it over to ChatGPT and you say, hey, this is what's happening. I'm stuck in a loop, or I can't get this button to move, or I can't get authentication to connect to the database, or whatever it is. You explain your problem, you give screenshots as if you were talking to a customer service representative and you're looking for help on a piece of software. So do exactly the same thing. The more information you give, the better ChatGPT is going to be able to give you an answer. So that allows you to basically work through problems. And that is how we learn anything. Lovable is going to get started. It's going to get the basics in place. Then you're going to hit problems. By working through those problems, that's how you learn how to vibe code. That's how you learn the limitations and what it's good at and what it's not good at. And there's no real shortcut there. You just need to hit the friction, work through the friction. And that's basically how we learn. It sounds like a lot of work. It is a lot less work than learning to code. Believe me, a lot less work. So just go and play and then solve problems when they happen. It really helps if you have a project that you actually want to build. So some kind of cool idea that maybe you've been sitting on for ages. Just go and build it. Go and have some fun. How easy is it to create an AI call agent, an AI that can take orders over the phone? It's more complicated, but the voice models are getting better and better. The voice models are still relatively expensive, but it's definitely doable. So you could vibe code it. You probably need something a bit more robust because you need to have RAG, retrieval augmented generation. Basically, you're going to have a database of common questions, common answers, all of the information that your customer service representatives would normally have at hand. So your product catalogs, customer service requests, your menu. I don't know what kind of orders you're taking, but you'd have to provide all of that in some kind of database, which the AI can draw upon. You might fine tune the AI. You would test out to see if you need to fine tune it, or maybe you just have RAG, retrieval augmented generation, which pulls that information. Depends on the complexity. What I would say is you could build this yourself. It's doable. There are many tools out there which do this for you, and they are cheap. We're talking like $20, $30, $50 a month, and you just upload all of your information. They give you access to the models and you hook them into your systems. Most of the time, that's probably going to be the better job, unless you're trying to build your own system to sell to other people, or you're building your own system because your company has thousands of agents, thousands of jobs that you want to optimize. Otherwise, if you are talking about taking a handful of orders a day, just use an off-the-shelf solution. Generally, this is going to be the case with any problem using AI, because the people who are building a call agent startup, they're going to be continuously improving their model. They're going to be continuously kind of keeping up to date with what works best. So just let them do the work and you spend $50 a month, whatever it is. You can get this stuff cheap.